consider this rendezvous officially over. Over? When did it start? She gasped, then picked up her forgotten glass of red wine and tossed it in my face. I could have moved out of the way, but I figured doing so would make her even more upset. Plus, she wanted to save face by feeling like she'd made the last move, and I was nothing if not a gentleman. "Raggedy-ass cowboy," she huffed, as she stormed out of the barn like a Category 6 hurricane, shouting curse words my way as she went back to the estate. "The story of my life," I mumbled, adjusting my black cowboy hat as I made my way back to the party I was attending. The top of my white button-up was soaked in red wine, so I took a detour to my black Toyota Tundra truck and changed into the spare shirt I kept in my gym bag for emergencies. Not exactly formal, but hey, it was me. Simple. Taking a deep breath, I glanced at the gravel walkway that led back to the estate. Damn, this is brutal. The last thing I felt like doing tonight was schmoozing with the high-class folks of Dallas, Texas. But I was on a mission, and I couldn't leave until I had a chance to talk to Lance Rose, the business tycoon who showed interest in investing in the ideas I had for my business. Granted, at this point, it would be easier to cut my losses, but I never quit at anything. As I made my way back into the estate, I immediately groaned at the fact that Abigail was already talking to a couple other women who were all shooting daggers my way. It was hard enough forcing myself to be personable and talk about my business without the extra stress that Abigail was clearly out to make sure the women in attendance didn't want anything to do with me. And from what I heard, the women ran this part of town, so if they didn't like me, I didn't stand a chance with their husbands and sons. "Damn, Caden, where you been at?" I glanced away from Abigail in time to see Houston, my best friend and one of my business partners, approach. "Remember when that woman asked me to talk to her outside?" He nodded. "Well, she wanted to do more than talk. Had me out there in the barn avoiding her advances when I needed to be in here handling business." Houston shook his head. "Shit like that always happens to you." "Tell me about it." And at 34, it was getting old. "What did you do?" he asked. "Not her," I told him. But she didn't take the rejection well. Now she's over there talking to that group of women, and from the looks I'm getting, she's telling them her version of the story. Houston shrugged. "These Dallas chicks are used to getting what they want, but we came here on a mission. Who cares what some pampered princess has to say?" "Her boss might," I mumbled as Lance Rose approached the woman. It didn't take long before he was also looking my way with a stern expression on his face. "Shit," Houston mumbled. "Maybe you should have just fucked her." I shook my head. "Not my style, man. You know that." Besides the fact that she was a prima donna, I wouldn't have slept with her even if the situation hadn't caught me off guard. Women like her didn't have much substance and were more so worried about their social standing in society rather than doing something that impacted their community. My views made me sound judgmental at times, but I had yet to meet a woman like Abigail to prove me wrong. "He looks pissed," Houston pointed out. "No shit." I wasn't sure what she told him, but the last thing I was expecting when he approached me was for him to extend his hand and tell me, "Thank you for being there for my sister when that man tried to get her to go to the barn with him." My eyes widened. "Sister? She's his damn sister?" What?" Lance glanced over his shoulder. "Abigail told me that you were there to rescue her when a man who had a little too much to drink approached her. I have security trying to find him now." You're welcome," I said, deciding to play along. "Glad I'd been out there to help." Houston almost choked on his drink. "That's Caden, ever so much the Boy Scout." Lance smiled.